Hello and welcome to Talking Good Gaming's match preview of Norwich City against West Ham United. Norwich booted out the Premier League last weekend and West Ham booted out the Europa League on Thursday night. But the attention turns to the Premier League. 3 games to go. European football up for grabs. 6, unlikely but still there. 7th, more likely. 8th, possible for the Hammers. Big job to do. Big game, but can we get up for it? That's what we're here to discuss. But before we do, Gonzo, can I get your thoughts on Norwich City, please?
Yeah, look, nice club, nicely run club. Yo-yo team will always be a yo-yo team just because of the size of the club. They'll be happy at the moment because they're big rivals. Ipswich, they've done a lot better than Ipswich in recent years, and that means a lot over in those parts. Stable club though, well run. Delia Smith and the other fella. They made it wasn't really a brave decision. Look, Daniel Farke done very well for him. Very, very well for him. And they rolled the dice to try and stay up. And I've got to say, it didn't work. But actually, they did get an uplift from it. And I did think they were better since Smith came in. And what it's probably given them is an opportunity. I think Farke would have got them up again. If it had gone down, Farke would have got them up. So actually, the net result, is it any different? No, because I think Dean Smith will probably get them up as well. I think they've been dealt a little bit of a curveball because one of their best players was obviously Todd Cantwell, who was running his contract down as well, which I don't think is particularly helpful when you're trying to stay up. But yeah, look, not a bad little club, mate.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying about Dean Smith. I think the difference is Farke had enough opportunity to go down and come back up again and build for a second time and say, right, now you've got to go make this happen. We'll give you the first sort of relegation free, if you like, but the second one, we've got to see some stability. We've got to then stay in the promised land of the Premier League. I think that's what perhaps the difference is with Dean Smith. If they go down, he gets them up. This is now a Dean Smith squad. You've now had enough time to mould this team into a Dean Smith Premier League team. Now go and keep us up like you did with Aston Villa without the spends, unfortunately. But that's something that I feel Norwich almost getting mocked a little bit because I think them getting relegated was almost perceived as a foregone conclusion before the Premier League even began at the start of the season. They were favourites to finish bottom in the Premier League. They probably will finish bottom of the Premier League. So it was right. But I think that there's almost like a bit of almost football snobbery towards them a little bit. And actually, I think the way they go about their business model, their football model as a sustainable club is something that should probably be applauded more than mocked, if anything. And I don't like it when clubs try and do things the right way financially and it doesn't work because I think it just encourages you to go down the other route, which is you're going to have to spend money. If you come up, you're going to have to spend big bucks. And they did spend some money last summer, Norwich, unlike the first time they came up, but obviously, £40 million of that was funded by the sale of Emi Buendia and the replacements they got in. They didn't go out and spend 40 million, 30 million, even 20 million on a player. They've got in a few £10 million players here and there, and they've just not worked. It was a bit of a gamble on Norwich's part. It hasn't worked. And now I think they've got a bigger rebuild job this time than they did last time when they went down, because when they went down last time, they had almost like a group of promising English players with Jamal Lewis, Max Aarons, Todd Cantwell, Emi Buendia was obviously the star of the show as well. But they had players that were worth a bit of money. But now they're going down with players overseas who may not fancy it in the Championship, like Josh Sargent, Rashika. Big job for Dean Smith this summer. I think it's a more difficult one this time round than last time. Do you think they will come back up again, Gonzo? I know it's difficult because we've got the summer transfer window and stuff, but do you expect?
Well, we do. I mean, the other thing that just to throw in there about those players acclimatising, of course, 2 of their better players are actually on loan as well, which now go back to their parent clubs, Chelsea and Man U. So I don't know. You're right, but I would suspect they do because I do think you do have a lot of buying power. But the Buendia one is a massive thing because actually not only did they have Buendia, I thought he was the best player in the Championship during that particular campaign as well. So they're going to have to pull a rabbit out of hat. They do have a good scouting system, though. They really do, and a good. I wouldn't be surprised they've got another gem in the youth academy to come through who they might not want to throw in, particularly at Premier League level, but they're very, very good at it. Do not be surprised if, in fact, I think even, the kid that does well at Newcastle, Murphy, Jacob Murphy. I think he might be a twin. And I remember that. So they went and scouted. They came through at Norwich as well. They've always got players who can pretty much compete in that division. I think they'll get promoted.
Daryl, is that the other twin's name? Is it Daryl Murphy? I don't know. Jacob Murphy's definitely a twin anyway.
Yeah, I think it might be Joe. It might be something like Jacob and Joseph, something like that, quite possibly.
They've got Rowe, who's sort of coming off the bench recently for Norwich, a 19-year-old winger, and they've got that centre-back as well. I can't for the life of me remember his name. It starts with O, and it's like onomatopoeia. It's a really long name. I think he's Irish centre-back as well. So they've got a couple of youngsters on the fringes of the first team, and I think Billy Gilmore's been really poor for them this season, though, actually. I think Brandon Williams has been excellent, but I know what you just said about how their transfer strategy, but I think that was a really bad signing. He just doesn't suit the way that Norwich play. But I guess this is the problem. If you then allow Farke to bring in his players, then sack him quite early on in the season, bring in Dean Smith, it's like, well, what are you going to do with this player? But Billy Gilmore didn't really suit Farke either, to be honest with you. I think that's been a horrendous one. And I think it was turned a bit sour when Chelsea beat them at Stamford Bridge. Then Billy Gilmore was obviously seen sort of laughing and joking with the likes of Mason Mount, and understandably didn't go down well with Norwich City fans. But I think he's a talented player. I'm a big fan of Billy Gilmore for obvious reasons. I guess I think they'll come back up again as well. I think their blueprint is almost to some extent. I think their strategies to some extent is based on going up and coming back down again. I think they'd already have this summer planned for. Whereas, for example, if Everton were to come down and would get relegated this season, I'm not sure Goodison Park is ready for a relegation battle. I don't think Everton have plans for the Championship football next season, whereas I think Norwich City do, which would probably give them a little bit of a foot up. And as we've seen again this season, the parachute payment clubs are automatically promoted back to the Premier League again. So that obviously benefits them too. Last question about Norwich City, though, Gonzo. Players you admire? Is there any?
Yeah, well, I do like Williams, as I've always mentioned ever since I saw him play for Man U. So they're strong at fullback, actually, because
you like that battle. I think that's your favourite Premier League battle, Jared Bowen against Brandon Williams.
Really good. And was it? It was Williams that gave Eriksen a cuddle, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him. I do like him. I think there's a toughness to him, but obviously a softness as well. I like him. Seems like a good character. I'm sure he'll have a good career. Strong at the other fullback as well. With Aarons, who's a really good player. Clearly they're going to have problems if they try and play Sam Byron at centre half again, but I guess needs must on there. I think Rashica is a talented player. I think there's some talent in there. We just perhaps haven't seen it. I don't know if that gets unlocked. It might one or two ways. Either gets unlocked in the talent, gets unlocked in the Championship, or he just, won't be able to sort of thrive in that combative and challenging Championship where there's just games thick and fast. Pookie's just falls between the margins. In fact, Pookie is very much a microcosm of Norwich, which is actually, one of the better players down in the Championship, but not quite good enough for the Premier League. So, mate, some half decent players there, but they are inherently a Championship team.
A couple of the players I quite like actually will do well in the Championship, and I hope they stick with Norwich, and I hope Norwich almost build a team around them. I think Ben Gibson's a good centre back. I think if you're going to buy a centre back that Sean Dyche has purchased, I think you can't go wrong there. I think when you look at the success he's had, he's moved on Michael Keane, that's fine. We've got Tarkowski and May, they're both leaving, that's fine. They've got Collins, who's up for Premier League Player of the Month for April. That's their next centre back. Gibson was obviously there. They've got him from there. They spent money on him. Spent money on likes of Angus Gunn. I think Norwich almost need to sort of try and get these players into the team next season. Obviously, Ida as well looked excellent against us at London Stadium, and looked like if Norwich were going to stay up, he was going to be their hero. But got an injury-ending season at the start of February, middle of February, just wiped him out. Big season expected for him next season in the Championship. So they've got some talented players, Norwich. It's few and far between. I thought Rashica was a bit of a coup for them, actually, when they signed him. I thought, whoa, that's a good bit of business. Just not seeing it. It's been a bit stop-start for him. Same with Josh Sargent. There's been times where games I've watched him, he's been dreadful. But then there's other games, I look at him and think, all right, there's a player here. But now he's out for the season as well. And it's been a bit of a bumpy season for Norwich. They've not really had much rhythm. Every time I've watched them, they've had a different centre-back partnership. That doesn't help. There's been no stability. The midfield's changing all the time as well. I think Norman looks quite good. Nice technical player. Kenny McLean, limited ability, I think. Like you said, it's just a team that's too good for the Championship, but not good enough for the Premier League, and they need to just keep on chipping away at it and try and make it good enough for the Premier League the following season, should they come back up. Now, we're going to discuss West Ham now. Massive game for the Hammers. Can Moyes pick the boys up and go for 6 or even 7 in the Premier League? Before we do, just want to point in the direction of Betmate, who have sponsored this video. Betmate is a paid fantasy football game. However, this weekend, no payment necessary. We've got a £50 pot for free for Hammers Chat viewers only. So, the link to the app is in the description and pinned comments. Get it downloaded and get signed up. You do not have to pay anything. You don't have to deposit any money. You can then play 2 games. There's a free £100 prize pot game, which you can play along with. And then there's the Hammers Chat one. On the bottom tab of the mobile phone app, you can click join. It'll ask for the code for the league. It's Ham Chat, HAMCHAT. I'll put it all in the description and pinned comments as well. Get joined up. You then have to select your 7-a-side team for the weekend. You click on the top of the mobile phone app, it says rules. You can click there. You can see how points are scored. But essentially, clean sheets, goals scored, assists, tackles, interceptions, all that good stuff. Get your 7-a-side team put together. I'll be doing one. Gonzo's doing one. Charlie's doing one. See if you can beat us, and also see if you can win a little bit of money.
One of you is going to win it, by the way. One of you is going to. That's guaranteed. One of you watching this is going to win 50 quid.
Well, it's a £50 pot. I thought it was a £50 prize. It's a £50 pot, so it's broken down. So it actually pays a few places. So there's 4 or 5 people will actually win cash on Sunday. So happy days. Get involved. It's completely free. It's a really good app, isn't it, Gonzo? We're not just saying that. We do our research. When brands reach out to us, we will go and have a look at what they're offering us to make sure it's decent. Otherwise, we don't want to speak about it. It's a really slick app. It's really easy to use, really easy to navigate, but it is a gambling product though, so please gamble responsibly. But in a weird way, part of their ethos is so that you can't lose too much money. So the games are on average £3 to play. So if you join up and you play the next West Ham game, so we'll play Man City next week, it might cost £5 to enter that game, but obviously you can win some money. Links in the description below, but get involved this week is completely free. Gonzo, West Ham team. I mean, this is difficult, isn't it? Because Moyes has got a big task on his hand now to get them motivated to go to Carrow Road and get the win. Let's start going through it one by one then. Who would you like to see in the sticks?
I just want to get as much of that Europa team out of the way as possible. I think not just for energy reasons, fatigue, but actually in terms of a freshness of mind. So I would put Fabianski between the sticks for this one.
I would go with Areola. I think Fabianski made a big mistake for the second goal against Arsenal. And I think Areola was largely untested against Frankfurt. No, that's why I'm putting him in. I just feel like Areola's had a better season out of the 2 of them.
Yeah.
And I know we've got a job to do this season, but can't help but look towards next season already now. I'm almost got one eye on next season, or certainly the transfer window. We're still undecided on Areola. It feels like we're still undecided. Let's give him 3 games and have a proper look at him and see if he's worth spending. Not necessarily 11 million. I think we'll all say yes. But is he worth £100,000 a week? I think that's the sticking point. Let's get him and go and have a look. So I'd play Areola. Defence, how would you like to line up?
I have 4 at the back with this one. And I would go with Fredericks, Dawson, Zuma and Johnson.
I wouldn't play Zuma. I think he looks a bit injured.
Yeah, it was tough. I didn't think about it.
I'd put Diop in there myself, and alongside Dawson, I would put Diop in there just because of Zuma's question marks over if Zuma's 100% fit or not. I mean, he's not 100%. I think I could see it a little bit more last night. Arsenal didn't have any doubts. I thought he was back to his best against Arsenal, but last night against Frankfurt, I thought he looked a little bit iffy at times. Don't have that vibe with Dawson. Obviously, he had a little bit of a break between the Frankfurt games as well. There's obviously concerns over Diop's fitness too. Moyes in the build-up to the Frankfurt game basically said he's not 100% fit, but he's fit enough to be in this squad. So I think I'd freshen it up. Obviously, if Zuma is 90% fit, I'd probably play him. But just to err on the side of caution, I'd be looking at putting Diop in for this one. I think Ben Johnson has to start for me. But I'll be honest with you, Gonzo. There's a temptation for me to play Aaron Cresswell, and there's two reasons. One is he only played 17 minutes against Frankfurt.
Yeah.
Right, so there's no fatigue there. And two, because we win together and lose together as a team, and I think it would almost say to Cresswell, look, you're still a massive part of this team. You've made a mistake. It happens, Unfortunately, you're going to have to get over it because we're going again on Sunday. It all depends on how Cresswell is. I don't know. You don't know. David Moyes will know. David Moyes will be able to look him in the eye and train and know if he's okay to start on Sunday or if it's the red cards impacted him a lot, because it will impact him. Just how much has it affected him? Can he play on Sunday? And if the answer is yes, I would play him, because I think it's important he gets back out there, gets back on the pitch, playing for West Ham. The away game may help as well, because you can't just ditch him. You can't just leave him out now, because I think if anything, the longer you leave it, the worse it gets, really. So I would have Cresswell in for this one at left back and Johnson at right back if Cresswell is okay. But that's the manager's call. I don't know. Midfield? Well, first of all, what do you think about that? Or do you think you would just leave Cresswell out completely?
I know. Look, for me, I mean, you have given me a couple of reasons why he should play. I could double, triple. I could give you far more reasons why he shouldn't. I don't need to list them here. I think he is part of this mental scarring, if you want, that I feel will be left over from that trip to Germany, and I want as much of it out the team as I possibly can. Look, Dawson's in next. I think Dawson could walk through a battlefield and then sit down and eat his egg and chips and not be bothered about it. I mean, I just think he's got that much mental fortitude. I really do. But Fredericks, sort of takes. I didn't think Soufal was awful against Frankfurt.
No, I'm leaving him out just fatigue reasons.
I but I feel it's important Fredericks goes in there. I don't know whether Cresswell's right or whether he isn't, but there's an awful lot of responsibility. I'd imagine he's carrying an awful lot of guilt. And if there's any chance at all, and there is a chance, don't play him, because I tell you what, I do know there's no doubt in my mind that Johnson will be fine for that game. And I know, yes, he played in Germany, but he won't feel he'll feel part of the rescue act. Johnson, part of the he'll feel part of the stick. He probably thinks himself as a sticking plaster rather than the wound, if you know what I mean. So that's my reasoning for there. Just get him out of there, for the time being, and almost take him out the line. I just wonder if he might be a little bit relieved to be left at home or something like that for this one. In midfield, I go with Rice and Noble. Again, I don't, much like Dawson, I don't think there's any problem with Rice's mentality. I know he got frustrated with the players. I know he was frustrated with the referee. That being said, it doesn't seem to distract him. He can still play the game. When he's actually on the pitch, he doesn't let them distractions bother him. And when there's a break in play, he does. We've seen a little bit of creep in. What's the guy's name? Nketiah, a little bit of frustration with Nketiah in the Arsenal game. Lots of frustration with the Frankfurt players and the referee. But I think he can focus, and he's our best player. So let's keep him in there. Mark Noble. Well, number one, I think Mark Noble is going to want to play well. The clock is massively ticking now. Mark Noble's this could possibly be Mark Noble's last game. Okay, because if we really need you look like that. Okay, let me give you a scenario. If we go into that last game,
I'm going to fight you in a minute.
Yeah, with a chance of getting sixth, right? David Moyes may well go in what he thinks is best team. So if we have to win, it is Man City's not last. Brighton's last game. If we have to go against Brighton with a chance of we have to beat Brighton, and we're relying on the result that Man United and we get sixth, I don't think.
It's not that fixture. It's not that fixture. I want to see him playing. It's the Man City one next weekend. He's got to play in that.
He's not got to at all.
Yes, he does.
No, if for some reason we are back in it and we got a chance of it, I know what you're saying, and that
I want
lovely.
A refund. Then the club sold me my ticket based on Mark Noble's last ever home game.
Absolutely, and do you know what? This is the point. If for some freak, and I don't think we can, but they're on a downer. Man City are on a downer. If by some freak of nature we are going in at 65 minutes and we are 1-0 up against Man City, and David Moyes is trying to see that game out, there is a chance that Mark Noble might not be brought on. Don't make the sentimental decision. You see the game out. If that then takes us into the Brighton game, a chance of getting Europa League football, I think Moyes will do it. So there is a sequence of events that can happen, which means this might be Mark Noble's last game. I think, obviously, I understand the old bottom lip coming out and all the rest of it. Mark Noble will also know that as well, that this may well be particularly his last chance at starting. And I also think you've got to take Souček out the equation for this one as well. I think he put a big old shift in, wasn't against Frankfurt and wasn't very good, by the way. And Rice and Noble has a good look to it in that central midfield.
Yeah, I think Noble and Rice for me as well. I think Souček must be absolutely shattered after that game in Frankfurt. So like Soufal, I'd be taking him out just for fatigue reasons. That's all. Have him on the bench. I think Noble looked good against Arsenal. Listen, if there's anyone Noble I expect him to do it against, with the greatest of respect, is against Norwich City. If he can't do it against Norwich, then I say he's in trouble, because we still don't actually know what Noble's actually doing. We know he's leaving West Ham this summer. We still don't know what he's going to go on to do. If he is going to continue playing, which is unlikely, I'd imagine it probably won't be a championship club. I'd imagine he might go drop a league lower than that, so he can be one of the best players in League One rather than sort of risk it in the championship. But this might be the standard of club that he's going to come up against next season. However, I do appreciate it's unlikely he will continue playing football, but he's got to be able to play against Norwich, so I'd put him in alongside Declan Rice. And for the Man City thing, I wouldn't be surprised if Mark Noble starts the game and is substituted in the 16th minute. That's my call.
Oh.
Oi. We'll discuss it in the Man City preview. But that's what I imagine may happen. I wouldn't be surprised. Don't fight me.
I'm fine. I'll wait. I'll keep my.
Yeah, wait for the video next week then.
I will.
Right, that leaves 4 players. What are you saying?
Lanzini, for obvious bloody reasons, nice and fresh. And then I would go with Bowen, Antonio, and Ben Rama.
Antonio, despite being shattered against Frankfurt,
I just don't see any other thing to do there, really. I think he'll be someone that'll have regret as well. Yeah, I think you can change it. If he doesn't look fit, you can change it later on, put Bowen in the middle, maybe Vlasic on the wing. But I don't see any, Yarmolenko doesn't look at the level at the moment anyway. So, yeah, I probably would. I think Antonio might well have a point to prove in this one, which is basically he might feel, oi, you lot, I didn't get my chance. That was my opportunity in that final. I didn't get a chance because we were down to 10 men. I had to do all this running up front on my own. I didn't get any service. Blah, 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 whatever he's thinking in his mind. So I think he might well think, okay, I want a bit of that again. I'm going to help us get into Europe now. I wouldn't be surprised if actually, funny enough, as tired as we think he is, I wouldn't be surprised if you've got a barnstorming performance from Antonio in this one. And if they do, I think in their last game, they played Sam Byram at centre half. I might be wrong. But if they try any of that sort of stuff again, Antonio's exactly the type of player I'd like up there.
I've gone with what you suggested could be an alternative, which is Bowen up front with Benrahma, Vlasic and Lanzini behind him. Reasons being simply because I think Antonio must be absolutely dead on his feet. Same with Fornals, hence why I've not got Fornals in here. Yeah. Because Antonio gave it his all in Frankfurt. He had a thankless task up front, ran himself into the ground, and I can't imagine he's got much energy. Like, he must be struggling today, bless him. So I'd have him on the bench for this one. I'd start Bowen up front, who I thought looked quite good up front against Arsenal, got his goal, got 1.5 chance and took it well. And then 3 very fresh players, which isn't something you can say, you shouldn't be able to say coming into the game off the back of a European adventure, but Vlasic, Lanzini, Benrahma, between them, they must have had about half an hour of football in Frankfurt. It's not much. Them 3 should be fresh. They should cause this Norwich team all sorts of problems. They should be more than good enough to create, between the 4 of them with Bowen, at least 2 goals on Sunday afternoon. I want to see it freshened up, and I want to see some of these boys get a bit of a chance, to be honest with you, because it is a little bit about looking forward to next season now, and give some Benrahma, Lanzini, and Vlasic the opportunity to shine here. Because like you said, Lanzini only played 17 minutes in Frankfurt, so he's fine. Benrahma came on, and if there's any team, with the greatest of respect to them again, there's any team expect Benrahma to be creative against and rip the right back to shreds again, it is Norwich City. And then Vlasic, we've just got to play him at some point. However, I would like to say I'd like Vlasic in the middle and Lanzini on the right. I know it's not Lanzini's best position, but I want to see Vlasic given a chance in his best position for a change. We've seen Lanzini in the last few games playing central and being quite anonymous, actually. He hasn't really got involved in the game. So give him the dog work to do on the right-hand side and put Vlasic in there and let's have a look at him. And I'll tell you something, if he doesn't do it against Norwich, then we've got a problem, okay? I think this is the game. It's to Vlasic. Sorry, mate, but if you can't do it here, then we're going to have a talk in the summer. Are you bothered about this match?
Oh, massively. Yeah, massively. I want to play European football again next season. Look, it's hard. It gets increasingly harder on Hammers Chat to mention the name Lingard. Someone said, "Don't talk about him. Don't talk about him. I've had enough." But if what we want to do is get players like Lingard, and I appreciate some people don't want to get Lingard, but I do, and I would like him.
But you said
Sorry.
You said players like Lingard, not Lingard specifically, but of that ilk.
Your Lingards. Like your Abrahams. Did you notice Tammy Abrahams has scored the other day?
Yeah, I noticed Tammy Abraham scored against Leicester, yes.
Good, glad you noticed.
You call him Calvin Lewin as well.
Calvin? Oh no, I don't. I get mixed up because I'm old. I keep trying to say Calvin Phillips, and I get them mixed up. But you never see them together, do you? There's always injured when I reckon they're the same person. So one of them's always injured when they face each other, Leeds and Everton. It's the same person. They put it. I tell you what, a same person putting in double wages. Got a right ringer going on there. What was I talking about? Who was I talking about? What player? Remind me.
But how we want to sign players like Jesse Lingard.
If we want to sign your Lingards and your Abrahams of this world, then European football is really important. I do think that's it, and particularly if you're looking to try and entice them. Players that were looking to sign for us would have been looking at that game against Frankfurt, and they would have maybe not been too impressed by what they saw. So actually, to show that we can do back-to-back seasons in Europe, I do think is pivotal, which makes the Norwich game back on track absolutely crucial.
Well, I'm going to say yes, because everyone knows my feelings about the Europa Conference League. I'm not going to go into them. I've banged on about it enough. But are you worried about the motivation of the players? Because I'll be honest with you, Gonzo, when I was doing my hypothetical team, there was a little element of it's a difficult job. It's a difficult job for Moyes to motivate himself and his own management team, and then to motivate the players and the fans to get up for this as well. You know, we've seen the comments in our review videos and stuff in the last 24 hours about how some of them regard the season as being over now. And I can understand where they're coming from. I'm not saying they're wrong. I can get it. It's not over for me. But that's because I see the Europa Conference League as a prize. A lot of people don't see it as a prize. But it's also, there's 3 teams this weekend going into this one in very similar situations with Man City, ourselves, and Leicester City, which is we've all been dunted out of European football. We've always got to get up for it at the weekend, and it's going to be difficult. You know, how do you... Hell, I did my opposition prediction thing for this game, what I think Norwich will do. A few days ago, I was doing it for Frankfurt, the second leg of a Europa League semi-final, and today I'm doing it for Norwich City, a team already relegated from the Premier League. Hell, I struggle to get motivated to sit down for 10 minutes and do a video on it. I can't imagine what it's like as a player.
Yes, you know, all valid points. This is where your Moyes MOT comes into play. As a very simple explanation, Moyes recruits players that have determination and big mental characteristics. Okay, this is where it comes into play. You need to select those players, which is what I mentioned about Dawson, what I mentioned about Rice. That's why these players are in there. Okay, if you have an inkling that somebody is not, hence what I said about Cresswell, you take them out. You put someone else in there in Johnson who you know has got the mental fortitude and is going to just do a job for you. So I think he has to get his selection correct. The great irony is the one person I'm most concerned about not having the Moyes MOT characteristics is David Moyes himself. Because at the moment, he has shown himself in the last 2 weeks to be very tetchy, very sensitive, very spiky, and I just need him.
Do you think he's hungry? I get like that when I'm hungry.
I think he might. I'm actually hungry now. I'm not trying to feel hangry, but yeah, I'm gonna once we finish doing this video, I'm gonna go
Sounds
outside.
hungry.
But
Maybe we could order like a Just Eat to Rush Green tomorrow for David Moyes. Will we do
can you
that?
imagine?
Just
What do you
David
reckon he
Moyes just sent.
What do you reckon he likes?
I don't know, but I think we should try it now just to see what happens. Just so then we can, when the delivery's on the way, we'll obviously you can track it. So your item's been delivered. That means someone's accepted at a Rush Green.
Yeah,
someone is eating our food.
Send him a Subway or something with the like the spicy meatball boys in the Subway, something like that, just to get him in the mood. Look, he needs to keep it together. They need to keep it together. If Moyes doesn't feel that, again, he's capable of giving the full team talk, he needs to hand it over to Nolan or Stuart Pearce or something like that. They just need to make sure they get over the line, these players. Motivation is going to be hugely important. And as is the dealing with the hangover, it's not just us. You know, there are other clubs who have to deal with it. You know, crikey, look at Man City the other night. You know, they'll have been crushed by that. All right, yeah, poor old Man City, blah blah blah, loads of trophies, but it's all incremental, isn't it? You know, they must be looking at it and thinking, oh crikey, look at Liverpool, they've been everything, and we couldn't even beat Real Madrid, like they're the dog and duck. But you know what I mean? Real Madrid, obviously a great football club. We've got to find a way. We need to see desire. I liked the words Declan Rice used. I don't mean, oi, referee, are you corrupt? Not those words, other words. When Declan Rice said, we have to go again next season, we're a strong group. That was good. That was important, okay? And even if it turns out not to be true, I believe it is. It showed Declan Rice's hit. I'm going to go for it again next season with West Ham. I love the West Ham fans. They're special. All of that stuff. We'll have more of that, please. Get it instilled in the team. Go for this. Win this. Let's take it on to the next game.
Are you confident?
Yeah, I am. I am confident for this.
I am. I think, I'll tell you what, though. One thing that makes me a little bit scared is nothing to do with West Ham, actually, because you know, I think I know what West Ham's going to turn up, and I don't think it's going to be the 100% West Ham, because we've seen it after every European game this season so far. We turn up and we struggle in the next game. And all season, we sort of let them off a little bit and say, I wonder if they had one eye on the next tie. I wonder if they had one eye on the next round. And you can almost forgive them a little bit. But we don't have that excuse anymore. It's gone now. It's now get the job done and make sure we've got some form of European football next season. What actually makes me scared is this is the first fixture for Norwich after being confirmed as relegated, and that can be dangerous. That takes the shackles off, takes the freedom off. It gives Dean Smith permission to try something. If we're talking about, we'll get rid of some of these, take some of these players out that are tired. Dean Smith might be thinking, well, I'll get rid of some of these players that are not going to be here next season. That 2 or 3 youngsters from the academy, I'm going to start them on Sunday. I'm going to tell them, you've got 3 games in the Premier League. You do well. You're in the team. You're in the squad next season, the Championship. That could be dangerous. It could be dangerous. But in regards to our own capabilities, if we turn up, we win. Sorry, Norwich fans, but we do. We are a better team. We have better players. We win. It's just a case of will we. I'm quite confident as well, actually. I don't know why. I just hope, and this is why I want to see Noble start. He's somebody that will be saying to these boys, you need to go and do it again next season. And this is one of the biggest reasons that I'm an advocate of the Europa Conference League. And I've replied to a couple of people, said I wouldn't bang on about it. All I'm going to say is next season, the Premier League is going to get tougher. I would argue it's easier for West Ham to qualify for Europa League the following season via the Europa Conference League than it is to finish 5th in the Premier League. Because at the minute, when the season starts, 5th is the Europa League. 6th gets you nothing. You have to then rely on the domestic cup winners. I think it would almost be easier to go through that route. So we need to finish minimum 7th in the Premier League this season. To do that, we need to beat Norwich. And if we beat Norwich, I think we've pretty much done it. Yes, Leicester can go on a 5-game winning spree and probably overtake us. It's unlikely. I think if we win on Sunday, we get 7th. Can I get any final words, Gonzo, as well as a score prediction, please?
Yeah, well, I want to see my team or your team. I want to see something going on. What I do not want to see is Soufal at right back, is Cresswell at left back, and Souček. And if I see a team that looks like that Frankfurt team, I think I will despair. I think I really, really will. Something needs to change. He needs to get fresh legs in there. That's my point. Fresh legs and fresh minds. Score prediction. I think we might win 2-0.
I'm going to say Norwich 0, West Ham 1. In a weird way, a comfortable 1-0 win. I don't know how to dress that up and make it sound good, but I think we'll win comfortably, but only 1-0. Anyway, if you enjoyed this preview, do drop a like on and subscribe to the channel. The game is 2 o'clock kickoff on Sunday, so we'll be live at 12:55 with a build-up show where we're taking a look at the Norwich team, the West Ham team, and also Gonzo's team, my team, and Charlie's team over on Betmate ahead of the free prize pot. Please do download the app. Links in the description, pinned comments. Get involved if you wish, and then we'll catch up with you on Sunday.